I think it reflects the sentiments of a lot of us at this stage, not being absolutely sure what the heck happened, you know, and why some of the things that were done, in fact, were done. And those are questions that we want to hear some answers from Dr. Basran about tonight, and there are probably others who are in that loop, if you will, who will have to have answers as well. Why the decisions that were made. And you may well be right. You know, in the wake of this, or in the middle of this, I've said to myself, if some other decisions have been made, perhaps Mr. Bhutto would still be alive.
Chairman Vincent Gray and members of the Committee on Health, good evening. Let me first thank you for giving us an opportunity to present our testimony in the case of horrible and treacherous murder of Javed Bhutto. My name is Iqbal Tareen, and I speak on behalf of Sindhi Association of North America, aka SANA. We have roots in Sindh-based Indus Valley civilization that is known for its peaceful and tolerant Sufi culture because of cross-pollination of different races, religions, and ethnicities. Many present in audience today have actually traveled hundreds of miles to pay their tribute to Javed, which is a huge testimony on Javed's values of humanity, his support for diversity, and a thirst for social justice. Javed worked as a mental health counselor at Welford Home Community, where he was loved and admired by his colleagues and residents whose lives he touched. We have always argued that the Department of Behavioral Health, St. Elizabeth Hospital, and their outpatient centers have not played their due role in monitoring the schizophrenic killer, Helmand Jordan. It is painful to know that no one from authorities even attempted to reach out to Ms. Hudbai even after her husband was murdered. The U.S. Attorney Office released Helmand into community on many conditions, including regular urine tests to be performed to detect intoxicants like marijuana. St. Elizabeth Hospital had stated that Helmand was not using destabilizers such as marijuana, which could cause disastrous relapse. YouTube shows videos of killer Helmand smoking joints in his balcony, right below Javed and Nafisa's apartment, bragging about his marijuana. Mr. Chairman, you have a copy of Mr. Bhutto's letter, which he wrote to Helmand's landlord, Halston, on January 17, 2019, complaining about excessive use of marijuana by Helmand. Had Halston informed Javed and Nafisa about Helmand's insanity and previous killings, Javed would have never disclosed his identity in a complaint, and he would have still been alive today. Knowing Helmand's previous history of murder in 1998 and an attempted murder at St. Elizabeth in 2005, the DBH still pushed him out of the hospital. Had the health agency not pushed for his release, Javed would still be alive today. Contrary to what health agency's chief of staff, Philip Jones, told the Washington Post, that Jordan was in compliance with the condition of the discharge. Here is living proof, Mr. Chairman. Here is today's newspaper, Washington Post, in which this is a confession by the District Mental Health Agency, which is published today. The agency has acknowledged, they have actually acknowledged that it is their failure in properly monitoring discharged psychiatric patient with a homicidal history before he killed Javed Bhutto in March 2019. This speaks louder than anything else, contrary to what they have been maintaining for a long, long time. Only accepting a partial responsibility in a report released yesterday, the DC Department of Behavioral Health says its staff disobeyed a court order by not revoking Jordan's freedom in the summer of 2018. After he tested positive for marijuana use 4 times in 5 weeks. 4 times in 5 weeks. And then after, there is no proof, absolutely no proof, that he was monitored afterwards. No proof until he committed the murder. None. We will challenge if the DBH will prove that. It is obvious that instead of coming clean, the agency is still playing blame games. Had the agency done its job in the first place, Javed would still be alive today. Our community is enraged, Mr. Chairman, and the members of the committee. We are enraged. We want the Department of Behavioral Health, St. Elizabeth Hospital, the landlord, Hillman's family, and neighbors, absolutely, them too, because Hillman endangered somebody else's child, a rare son of our Indus Valley civilization, a rare son, a very exceptional person. We would like them to be held responsible for this willfully omission, and their act. Let me remind everybody, just please understand that their act of disregard and omission not only took the life of precious brother, innocent Javed Bhutto, but thousands are left mourning for him. He was a jewel. He was a jewel, rare jewel of a land that is called Sindh, a crucible of Indus Valley civilization. The man who lived his life for humanity, for justice, and for peace. This is too much to be tolerated. This is a true irony. And I hope this story of willful omission will be redressed and it'll be punished.
Well, we want to see justice done as well, and we want to see a system that works so that people don't get turned back out to a community or communities and environments where they're not ready to be a part of. And there needs to be some explanations for that. They haven't been adequate to this point, in my opinion. So we hope to hear from Dr. Basran around what it is that the Department of Behavioral Health should have done differently. All right, Dr. Basran, you've been here all evening. You've heard a lot of the testimony that has been delivered by folks, and I hope you have a lot of answers.
Okay.
Don't know whether you will or you won't, but obviously we hope so.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good evening, Chair Gray, council members, and staff. I'm Barbara J. Basran, the Director of the Department of Behavioral Health. I'd like to talk about the monitoring the release of Hillman Jordan. The committee is aware of the tragic incident involving Hillman Jordan, who was charged in March with killing his neighbor. I want to first take a moment to remember Mr. Javed Bhutto and extend my sympathies to his wife, family members, and members of his community. Hillman Jordan was conditionally released from St. Elizabeth's Hospital in 2015, where he had been treated for nearly 18 years after the D.C. Superior Court determined that he was not guilty by reason of insanity for murder and associated charges. As you are aware, DBH has publicly released and shared with the committee results of our internal review regarding whether the department's forensic outpatient department and the Outpatient Forensic Review Board complied with the July 15, 2015 court order stipulating the conditions of his release while he lived in the community for the past 4 years. The FOPD and the Review Board are responsible for supervising individuals who are found not guilty by reason of insanity and released from St. Elizabeth's Hospital by order of the D.C. Superior Court to receive mental health services in the least restrictive alternative environment in the community. Hillman Jordan's July 15 court order established 19 conditions for release. The department's internal review found that the FOPD and the Review Board complied with 14 of the 19 requirements. They did not comply in whole or in part with 5 of the 19 conditions. Specifically, there was noncompliance in the following areas. 1, the FOPD did not notify the court of 4 positive urine screens for marijuana during a 37-day period from June 28th through August 3rd, 2018. 2, when the Review Board met on August 1, 2018 to review Mr. Jordan's treatment and decided to continue treatment in the community, it was unaware that his court order required mandatory return to the hospital for a positive urine screen. The FOPD did not ensure that Mr. Jordan's community-based mental health provider saw him 2 times per week for community support. 4th, the FOPD did not ensure that Mr. Jordan's community-based mental health provider submitted monthly reports. And lastly, the FOPD did not provide written notification to the court when there was a change in a community-based provider in February of 2017 and his case manager in November 18 and February 19. So, what corrective actions have I taken to address these issues? Number 1, we conducted a review of all 65 not guilty by reason of insanity active cases being monitored by the FOPD to ensure that all consumers are in full compliance with their court-ordered conditions of release. There are 5 cases, in addition to Mr. Jordan's case, where the court order required FOPD to immediately return the individuals to St. Elizabeth's Hospital for a positive drug or alcohol test. There is an additional 20 cases where the court order requires the FOPD to return the individual to St. Elizabeth for any violation of the condition of release, not specific to drugs or alcohol. During the review of these cases, FOPD found 1 case in which the court order contained ambiguous language on whether the FOPD had clinical discretion to manage violations of the consumer's condition of release. Specifically, 1 provision of the court order granted FOPD the authority, while another provision appeared to require the consumer's return. In this particular case, the consumer admitted to using alcohol in violation of his court order in April of 2019. FOPD subsequently transferred this individual to a new community-based provider where he has received appropriate treatment and therapy and has not relapsed since. In light of the ambiguity, however, FOPD submitted a letter to D.C. Superior Court dated October 4th describing the facts and circumstances concerning this individual, including the prior relapse. This individual's original offenses were unarmed carjacking, reckless driving, and destruction of property, and simple assault. The second thing that we've done is I have replaced the chair of the Outpatient Forensic Review Board and added a forensic psychiatrist to make sure that we have an expert on the committee. We have instituted supervised urine collection to ensure the integrity of the results.